Welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabrielle. Hello, hi. For today's video, I'm reacting to Leigh-Anne from Little Mix's new racism documentary called Race, Pop and Power. I talk about my own experiences with racism and some thoughts for the future. Get into this, I just want to say that I know nothing about Leigh-Anne's story and I know very little about Little Mix themselves. I'm just watching a documentary on race in the world of fame as a young black woman. I've got the documentary up here on my laptop, Leigh-Anne, Race, Pop and Power. The program's just started and it said that it was filmed in 2020, so it'll be really interesting to know whether she filmed this after the Black Lives Matter movement or before, but I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. I'm 4 minutes in and Leigh-Anne is giving a bit of background as to her story, and she experienced racism once before she became famous, and she noticed that since she became famous it was just everywhere, and she didn't necessarily realise at the time, but upon reflection it's just so obvious. For example, she said that when she joined the band they asked her to change her hairstyle. She was like, oh, very exciting. So they said, okay, let's shave one side and then dye it red. And you think, oh my gosh, glamorous, cool, that's really pop starry, but in reflection they just wanted her to look like Rihanna, which already has tugged at my heartstrings, because why can't she just be herself? Why can't she just be Leigh-Anne? They want her to be a certain person, i.e. Rihanna, because they know that Rihanna is a successful black woman and perhaps they're more likely to be successful if she's similar to Rihanna. It just breaks my heart entirely already. 4 minutes in and blown away.
The radio tour. We got off the plane and there were some fans standing waiting for us, and I was the first to kind of walk up to them, and they just walked past me and went to the other girls. Like, it was so weird.
All of the fans were just walking past her and straight to the other girls. I bet she just felt this big. Shocking, really shocking. Importantly, Leigh-Anne has opened up the discussion with other successful black women, and I just think that it speaks volumes, because it allows me, people like me, people younger than me, people older than me, a female, a male, to know that it doesn't just happen to them, it happens to the most successful of people.
Being told to bleach my skin, being told that I'm too dark to be in the industry. I'm going cold talking about it because I really actually don't like talking about it. You need to bleach your skin because you won't sell any records.
That just really breaks my heart. I'm trying to stay strong here because there's just no use in me crying. I know. I just know that if that happened to me, and perhaps I was going for a job interview or I was trying to be a singer and they came back to me and said, you're too dark, I would be broken. The fact she sat right there with the most successful singing career ever. In 2008 she won the X Factor, and someone had the audacity to say that she would not be successful because she was too dark. And look at her now. She must just feel so proud to have kept going, not listened to them. And now she's using her voice to help other people. The most infuriating thing is that doesn't even make sense. Lauryn Hill was successful, Mary J. Blige was successful. Why are you telling a black woman that she cannot be successful in music when it has been done for years? Years and years and years. There's evidence there. And two, how could you be that cruel, that insensitive, that hurtful, that you would put a woman down like that simply just because she is a different skin colour to yourself? Evil. Talk about colorism. I've actually got the definition up here on my laptop because I want to get this right, and it is when there is prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. Leigh-Anne was just saying that she posted another video talking about racism, and the negative comments this time were actually from people of the same ethnic group as herself. They were darker skinned people saying that she didn't have a right to talk about racism, or they wish that they'd got somebody darker to talk about it, or the fact that she's not representing properly simply because she's got white through her. And it's just heartbreaking. She broke down because she was thinking, am I right for the job? Should I be talking about this? And of course, all she's trying to do is represent everybody. Just because she's lighter skin tone doesn't mean that you then get to be racist against her. How is that? How does that make any sense? A little bit of background on where colorism actually comes from, and it all started with slavery. And sometimes the slave owners who are white would get the slaves who were black pregnant, and the baby that was born was obviously mixed race, and sometimes they'd get to come into the house, they'd get to eat the food, and they were treated a little bit more nicely than the black slaves. And so it all starts from then, and it's the thought that the lighter you are, the better you're going to be treated, and it all comes down to status and white supremacy, but that is obviously just false. In the UK, the majority of people are white, so all other ethnic groups are seen as a minority, but if you think about it, in India, the largest group of people are Indian, which is interesting, going back to the skin colour, and the lighter you are seemed to be the more of a status you had, the more successful you were. Compare that to India, there was a time where the darkest you were, the more successful you were, and the more knowledge you had. And just because there are less of you, it doesn't mean that you're worth any less. It all comes down to perception, where you're currently living, the trend at the time. I did want to talk about my own experience of colorism at this point, because it has happened to me, and it's happened from a young age. Interestingly, I didn't think that it was racism when these comments first started happening. I was just really naive, blasé, and I would just ignore it and just think, oh, whatever, they're just trying to be funny. And on reflection, far from. The sad thing is that these comments are from somebody close to me, and they still happen, and it'll be things like, oh, you looked very dark in that photo, or oh, look how much lighter I am than you. And it's just like, why would you say that? What are they trying to get from that scenario is what I would love to know. And to be honest with you, no, I haven't sat down and had that conversation with them, and I need to. After filming this video and also filming my previous racism video, Too Dark to Be Royal, I'll leave a link on screen up here if you haven't seen that. The conversation needs to happen, especially after the Black Lives Matter movement. It's just not right. And the issue with colorism is that you yourself are black too. Why would you put somebody else down for being black? What is wrong with being black? Black is amazing, black is beautiful, black is different. I don't get it. I really don't get it, and it hurts my heart to know that racism within your own ethnic group exists. If you can't even be accepted within your own group, then there are some serious issues going on. But it doesn't mean that we let it happen. As I said, I'm going to have the conversation with them. I'm going to keep talking about racism. I'm going to keep spreading awareness, because the more we talk about it, the more we educate ourselves, then hopefully we can hope for a better future for our children.
Stemmed from our first ever magazine shoot, like photo shoot, and there I was with my whole face like completely photoshopped. My nose had changed. But from that moment, I thought, oh my god, like, to be beautiful and glamorous, you know, you have to uphold this image of basically looking as white as possible. Definitely.
Leigh-Anne's just been speaking with Jade, her fellow band member, and Jade is of an Arab background. Really sadly, they were just sharing the time of when they wanted to get a nose job, because when they got booked for a photo shoot, their faces would always get edited. Their nose would be slimmer, their jaw would be thinner, and simply they were made to look like white women. And because they kept seeing their face like that on different printed resources, their faces always changed, their faces always changed. It's like a filter. You put a filter on and you think, oh my gosh, like long eyelashes, I'm gonna get eyelash extensions. Oh my gosh, bigger lips, I'm gonna get lip filler. But it was so bad for them that they actually wanted to get a nose job. Thank goodness they didn't, and I don't know who helped them see the light on this one. They didn't speak about it further, but that is really heartbreaking, and that is definitely not the only case of that. The end of the documentary, and it finished with Leigh-Anne asking to set up a meeting with her record label Sony to discuss positive discrimination. Overall, I think that it was a really good documentary. It moved pretty slowly, however the message was still there, and the message is so important. I think that it's so powerful that Leigh-Anne did that, because as she reiterated in the documentary, it's just not spoken about. She thought that she was going crazy and she was making stuff up with her experiences and the way she felt, until she spoke to others and realized that it's not just her. brings me on to my own message, and as a young black woman living in the UK who has experienced microaggression and colorism, it's really important for us to know that we can't let the colour of our skin define us. Yes, we're all different, we're all unique, and that should be celebrated. That's amazing, but at the same time, when we sit back and think about it, we're all human, we're all equal, and if we were to all cut ourselves, then we'd all bleed red. So we cannot let anybody or anything stop us from achieving what we want to. Yes, we all come from different backgrounds, we might have different opportunities, but we should never let the colour of our skin deter us from doing absolutely anything. So if you yourself have experienced racism, then I'm so sorry. I just want you to know that you are loved and you're worthy, and we can do anything in this world, which I think is really important. But we just have to remember to keep having that conversation with our loved ones, with our colleagues. Let's just spread the message and let's create awareness around it. A lot of the time in 2021, and especially as a Brit, I can imagine that a lot of the racism, yes, is outright racism, but some of it can be unconscious bias as well. So if you do hear any comments that are untoward, not correct, not fair, not kind, just say, did you know that that comes under as microaggression? Did you know that that is unconscious bias? And perhaps they didn't. Just educate them, and if they did, bye friend. So my main message is that we're all equal and we can do anything we want in this world. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this sparked a little bit of conversation around the topic. When I was young, I found it really hard to talk about it, but it's just so important growing up and knowing the way that people are treated. It's just so cruel and so unfair, and so I'm going to be an advocate for it for the rest of my life. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.